Hey there, my fellow writers of the world, and perhaps a couple of readers as well. This is going to be hopefully a quick, hopefully not too lengthy, but totally full of tips for all of you fellow writers out there, especially you other indie authors that I know you're out there, I know you're watching, or just for any readers who are just curious about the process of what it takes to create a book cover. So again, we're going to go through kind of step by step, just kind of show you some simple tips and tricks. This is going to be the easy route though. I'm not going to do anything super duper complex, super complicated in this. This is just to get you kind of started on the path of if you are someone who is looking to self-publish or whatnot and you want to create your own book covers, because let's be honest, book covers are really important. We all know the saying of, don't judge a book by its cover, but we all know that we do it. And we all know that our readers are going to do it. So we really want a nice cover that's really going to fit with the interior of whatever book you've already written, because you want to attract readers to actually pick up and read your book, whether it's an ebook, audiobook, print copy, whatever. And I will also go over a little bit of, ebook, audiobook, and print covers in this whole video. So let's go on ahead and get started. So I'm going to bring you over here to my laptop and I'm going to show you what I typically see when I am designing my own book covers, because I have currently out in the world I think six full fiction books out in the world. All of the covers I have designed myself. Now, because I'm not just a self-published author, but I'm also an independent artist, so supporting myself in that way. How about that? But I want to show you here. You might already, if you are a fellow Canva user, you might recognize the whole screen already right off the bat. But if not, yes, I use Canva for all of my book covers. I very, 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 very highly recommend that you do as well. If you do not already use Canva, go on ahead and sign up for it, completely free to use. You do not need to get the premium subscription or account to make a book cover. I don't. I do the free version and I do it all myself, and it works out wonderfully. So I cannot recommend enough going ahead and doing Canva for free for yourself to make your own book cover. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here. This is the latest book cover that I have designed myself for. This was the last book in my Emma Lemford young adult series. So just kind of going step by step how I go about making a cover. This is just my process in general. Of course, you can always do things a little bit different, but I'm just showing you tips and tricks of what I know so that I can kind of help you somewhat, right? So first things first, before I even come over onto Canva, I like to design my own illustrations because I am also an artist. So the eye part here, this whole thing, was actually done by hand. I did this by hand. I drew it out, sketched it myself, and then I took a picture of it with my phone, and then I did digitize it in another file. Probably, I think I did it here on Canva as well. I didn't save the file as far as I know, but I turned it into digital art like this. So this is my illustration that I already had ready to go. So what I did is I put that over here on the whole book cover. And as you can see, as I move it around, there was a couple of edits that I added to it once I put it over here, because I was not able to completely fully get rid of the background on it, because this was taken from an actual print sketched file. Or I took a picture of an actual drawing on a piece of paper, right? And digitizing it, it's not always the easiest thing to get rid of all the little white spots. So as I move it around here, you can see where I put it on here. I'm gonna try to line it back up now because I had it on here really well. Actually, let's just do this. Let's just go back. There we go. So I had it on here. And then I did go on ahead and take pen and stuff here over on the side with the toolbar button. I use the drawing functions and everything. Sometimes you just gotta play around with this stuff a little bit. But I went ahead and did that to match my background color here, which is this peachy tone. So I went ahead and I used that tool to go on ahead and, color things in. And I also colorized the eye here a little bit too, because I didn't want it white. I wanted it a little bit of a little bit pinkish purplish hue to that as well. So that's what I did to make my illustration. Now, depending on if you're an artist or not at heart, if you're looking at me no way, you do not have to do any of that. That is totally okay. you can actually go on ahead and for your illustration, Canva has a ton of you guys like free elements that you can use. You can look up books like I can show you here. For example, here, like graphics and photos. Now, if it's got this little royalty button on it, that does mean it is premium, but there are free options as well out there, like these. Just examples of like things you could use in your cover design for whatever illustration you want to have on there. You can use, I really like using the graphics. They're like little stickers sometimes that you can put on there that are like kind of got that sketchy feel to it, you know? So it kind of looks like, you know, you were an artist and you created this illustration yourself. But it really depends on what the vision you have for your own cover and what genre, also specifically, your cover is going to be in, because this is a young adult comedic, or I like to call it a young adult comedic fiction book. All right, so this cover is going to be a lot brighter and a lot different than, say, a really like dystopian fantasy book, right? Or like science fiction or historical fiction or horror even, like, you know, so on and so forth. Whatever your genre is, really, really, you guys look into your genre. If you haven't already, look at other covers that are already in your genre. Is it bright and like happy colors that really pop, or is it more like darker, you know, the fantasy tones and stuff, the darker colors going on? So you'll really, really want to know ahead of time, kind of a bit of a vision. Just come up with something here. You know, what colors are you going to use? What is going to be, there's really no other way to say it than like the aesthetic or the vibe that you want for your cover to be. So then from there, of course, you can look up illustrations for, like, maybe you're like, oh, I want like dark roses or something. Like, again, if you were doing like a dystopian fantasy type of, or romantasy even, you could like add something like this, you know, and play around with like building up an illustration from there. Now also, what is really important, of course, is the background color. You can always hit the background of your cover and you can change the background color pretty easily like that. You'll also want to go through your fonts if you're like me and you're like super into fonts. You're like, I love my fonts, because I sure do. I know a lot of us writers, a lot of you fellow writers are guilty of this too, of kind of overthinking our fonts a bit. And if you're not overthinking your fonts, you should a little bit at least for your cover. Because again, this goes back to like, what do you want your vibe to be? Do you want, especially with like historical and romance, there might be like script, you know, like cursive writing that you want for your font. Rather than for my cover, I went with a very solid, actually all caps even. I really wanted it to like stand out and be super bold and just pop. But I didn't want it, you know, bold face, so I did keep it thin. Thin lines, thin and sleek, I think is kind of what I was going for here with my title. And I wanted my title to be different than my name, my author name down here. And then of course I separated it with a really simple thin line here. So sometimes you guys, another thing when you're designing your cover, simple is oftentimes better. When it comes to covers, actually simple is almost always better, right? So I know it's easy to get caught up in the overthinking, and it is okay to overthink a little bit, because I think you really, really need to be invested in your cover, and you want to feel like you're overthinking, but you don't want to actually overthink. Does that make sense? You're probably like, no it doesn't, like what I'm saying is you really, really want to put a lot of time and effort into your book cover, and you really, really want to think it through. But you don't want to do so much so that it's like too much going on in the cover, right? We want to kind of pull back a little bit. It's like that saying, isn't that, I think like Chanel said that once, like in a famous quote somewhere, that like every time you go out of the house, you take one accessory off, right? Because you want to simplify things. So when you look at your book cover, when you think you're done, take it back in and simplify like one thing or something, you know? Now, aside from that, again, that's just a quick overview of like how I go about making a book cover. It's actually not that complicated. It doesn't have to be. Just like step 1, pick an illustration of some sort to have on the cover. And then step 2, go on ahead and add your text for your title and your author name. And then step 3, or whenever you want to do, add the background color in. Okay? Now, aside from that, this is the ebook. This is an ebook cover. So now I kind of want to go over what it's like to make an ebook cover versus an audiobook cover versus even a print cover, okay? But we're just going to focus on ebook and audiobook first because those are a little bit simpler. So for an ebook cover here, before, I guess I should have said this in the beginning, before you even going ahead into Canva and start, you know, throwing things on a thing here, you want to make sure you've got the right size laid out. So for this cover, I actually have it at 1400 by 2065 pixels. Okay, I'll say that again just so you can kind of grasp what that is. 1400 by 2065 pixels. That is a pretty standard size, I would say, for a book cover. Generally, you're told with ebook covers, it can vary a lot. Different platforms will take different sizes, but generally you want it to be, I think it's a 1 to 1.6 ratio is what you essentially want it to be. With, of course, the short side being the width and the long side being the length. You want it taller than it is wide. So if you are kind of stuck with deciding on an actual pixel size, I want to show you this as well that's available on Canva. You can use templates, which again, if you're not an artist yourself or you're not really comfortable creating a lot of art and like the illustration part, using a template is a great idea for you because it's kind of already there on the page and ready for you to just play around, edit a couple things and say it's good to go, right? So you can see here, I looked up book cover on Canva templates, and you guys, you get like hundreds and hundreds of results here. Now again, if it's got this little crown symbol on it, it is a premium template, but the other ones that do not have anything like that, like this one, is completely free. And you can go ahead and use these. You can tap on them, you can go into them, and then from there you can edit the text, you can edit the background, edit the illustration that's on it. Then from there, right, you can play around with it a little bit easier. I think using a template, if you, again, are not like a designer or an artist at heart, or it's kind of like intimidating to you at first, this is a really, really great way to get into doing that without getting too overwhelmed, right? And even if like you start out with a template and you just change a couple of things and then you're like, you step back and look at it and you're like, I don't know if this is really what I want. At least you practice, right? At least you started the process. You started to get a feel for what it's like to make the book cover so that then if you want to start over again from scratch, you can. And again, I also wanted to mention that because all of these templates here, they might be different sizes like pixels, but they're all going to be acceptable for ebook covers, okay? Now, aside from that, again, here is the finished ebook cover for my last book that I did. And I want to show you how I created this in audiobook form. So to make it in audiobook form, which is actually a little bit easier, personally I think, because audiobook covers are always square. So with the audiobook covers, the pixels that you use, I mean the size, it doesn't really matter as much. Just as long as I think it's over like 1,000, probably over 2,000 by 2,000 pixels is ideal. This one is 2,400 by 2,400, or if you want to call it 2,400 by 2,400 pixels. So as long as you've got it in a square ratio over 2,000 pixels, you're going to be good to go with the audiobook cover, which is why it's a lot easier. So what I did to create my audiobook cover is very simply what I did. Obviously, I made the ebook cover first. And then like I saved it, you know, and I used this image here of my illustration. I copied it over here. You can see what I did. I put it back over here. And then from there, I added my title text and my name, and I kept the little line that I had used here. So it's kind of like the same thing. I just copied things from here over, and then I just edited them a little bit to just fit the square cover, because it is a little bit trickier to fit things in an audiobook cover because it is smaller with the square size. I mean, not technically smaller because pixel-wise it is about the same. It's just with that square ratio, it's gonna feel a little bit more tight. So you can see here, my name, I kind of kept the same. The line, I made a little bit shorter and I put it off to the side just to offset it a little bit. The eye illustration in the middle is pretty much exactly the same. The title I did change a little bit because you can see here it's a little bit more spaced out because I have more space to do that. And then over here I kind of condensed it a little bit more just so again it fit in the square space a little bit better. And this is just something, you guys, I've done this with like all of my ebooks and audiobooks. I've done this for like almost all these covers. You can even tell like in my whole Emma Lunford series, that I have done this same process with every single one of the books in the series, and especially you guys, if you are working on a series or something, it's really nice to just use kind of your previous book as a template, if you will, for the next book. Because I think even what I did in this whole series is I took, like, book by book, since I was using Canva, I just copied, I literally duplicated the file each time to make my next cover, and I used the previous cover as a template. I just changed the color, I did a new eye illustration, threw that in there, I kept my name the same, obviously, and then I just edited the text for the title so that they're all, again, following the same template, and they're all very cohesive as a series. That's really important to keep in mind too if you are starting a series, that you want each book in the series to look like, you know, like it's literally a part of a collection, part of the whole series together. Now, one more thing I want to show you guys before we kind of finish out here is what it's like to make a print cover, because this is something I recently learned because I did not put my books in print for the longest time because it is kind of more intensive, but I do think it is worth it. It is worth it. So I want to show you here that this is the print cover for my debut book called Cartoon, which is also a young adult fiction book, a little bit more of an action adventure type. So with Cartoon, and for this print cover, I actually used a template that I got off of my publishing platform. They offered me a template to use, so I just took the template document, the template file. I can actually show you if I move this a little bit, if I can move all this stuff out of the way, I can show you here in the background. This is what the template, I put on stuff on top of it. Because the template kind of shows you, you know, where the spine is going to be, because with this is designing the paperback wraparound cover, which is a lot more intense and difficult than just, you know, the front side of the ebook cover or the e-audiobook cover. So what I've got here is this template in the background. I wonder if I can even just like bring this all the way forward. There you go. So you can see this is the template that they actually gave me to use. So this is really helpful. The red area around the edges is going to be trimmed off in the printing process. The blue area is the safety zone of trimming and folding here on the spine. And everything that's in white is where you want to put all your text and all the things you want to put on the cover. And of course down here you got to work around this yellow box because this is where the barcode is going to be added. So if I put things all back together here in order so I can keep my cover here, you can see that I added things on top of it. Like this is the actual ebook cover that I had for Cartoon to begin with anyway, and I just put it here on the front side of it. I made the background orange to match my theme color here for this book, which was orange, and I added some text and some dots just for a little bit added illustration to the side with my name and the title on the spine. On the back, I wanted to have the description because most print books, you know, you flip it over and there's either like quotes or a description or a synopsis or something on the back side. So I added that here. Again, it's just my regular like ebook. I might have changed it a little bit actually, but it's just my typical description that I've been using for the ebook for like years and years and years, right? But again, the front part is pretty much the same. I think I changed a couple of things here. Like I added this orange strip with the cartoon title and my name down here. I changed it a little bit. And again, this illustration I was really proud of this one. This is an illustration that I did myself digitally as an artist. Well, I did do it on paper and then I digitized it just like I did with those eyes on all the Emma Lemford covers. But again, this was all done on top of that template I just showed you, which I got off of my publishing platform, which if you're curious, I use Draft to Digital, and they do provide that for you. Now there is ways like on Draft to Digital, and I'm sure other self-publishing platforms with the print books especially, that they give you options that you can like design the wraparound cover directly on the platform also. I don't exactly recommend it as much because you don't get as much control with how it's going to turn out. And personally, I had a vision for what I wanted the books to look like, and I wanted it to look really professional and not just, you know, I don't want to say like just generated, but that's kind of how it is when you use their template builder like on the website itself, is it kind of just looks like it was generated, like you put the text in and it just like slaps it on there for you. It doesn't exactly look the nicest personally, I think. So that's why I downloaded the template and just went ahead and designed it for myself, but you can always do what you want to do. I know there is on the Kindle store, when you are uploading your work, there is a template builder on there as well. Or a book cover builder that you can use. Again, do I recommend using it? Not exactly, unless you've tried already to make your own cover, whether it's, again, the ebook cover or the print cover, doesn't really matter. As long as you've at least tried and attempted first and then you're like not getting anywhere with it, then maybe going ahead and use the builder that's already on the Kindle store, or rather on the Kindle direct publishing, you know, the platform that I'm talking about where you directly publish through the Kindle. But I really do highly recommend making your book covers yourself if you can. If not, and you've got the funds, you can always hire someone else out. Look up people like on Fiverr or other websites like that, some artists that would be more than happy and more than willing to do that for you. But other than that, I really hope this video was at least somewhat useful for you guys. I know it's a lot and it can be kind of complicated, so always you guys, I'll leave timestamps below for the chapters and stuff. If you want to like rewind, watch something again, look over what I was doing, what I was trying to explain again and again, just do what you need so that you can create your own beautiful covers. So I wish you all happy writing, happy reading, of course, as always, happy creating, all the things, and good luck with creating your next book cover, my friends.